Most people who overspend don't have a math problem. They know that spending more than you earn is bad. They know credit card debt is expensive. They know they should be saving more. The information is not the issue. The issue is that human beings are not rational economic actors. We are emotional, social, status-driven creatures who evolved in an environment where spending didn't exist. And we are now operating those ancient psychological systems inside a modern economy that has been engineered at enormous expense to exploit every one of our weaknesses. Overspending is not a character flaw. It is a predictable response to a set of psychological triggers that marketers, retailers, and financial institutions have spent decades perfecting. And the only way to reliably override those triggers is to understand exactly what they are and how they work. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 6 core psychological drivers of overspending, why willpower alone will never fix them, and the specific structural changes that actually work. Let's get into it. Driver 1. Present bias. The single most powerful driver of overspending is a cognitive bias called present bias. Present bias is the tendency to place dramatically more value on rewards available right now than on rewards available in the future, even when the future reward is objectively larger. This is why you know that saving $500 this month will make you significantly wealthier in 30 years, but it still feels harder than spending that $500 on something you want right now. The future version of you, the one who benefits from the savings, feels abstract and distant. The present version of you, the one who wants the thing right now, feels real and immediate. Neuroscience research has shown that when people think about their future selves, the brain activates the same regions it uses when thinking about strangers. Your future self is literally a stranger to your brain, which means saving money for your future self feels psychologically similar to giving money to someone you've never met. This is not a personal failing. It is a feature of human cognition that evolved when the future was genuinely uncertain and immediate rewards had genuine survival value. The problem is that this same system now causes us to consistently underinvest in our futures and overspend in our presents. The fix is not willpower. The fix is automation. When you automate your savings and investments, you remove the present bias decision entirely. The money moves before your present biased brain has a chance to evaluate whether to spend it. This is why automated investing is not just convenient. It is psychologically essential. Driver 2. Social comparison. Human beings are deeply social creatures. For most of our evolutionary history, our survival depended on our status within a group, and status was determined by visible signals of resources and success. That hardwiring has not gone anywhere. It now just expresses itself as keeping up with the Joneses. The problem is that social comparison has been turbocharged by social media. You are no longer comparing yourself to your neighbors and colleagues, a relatively small, relatively similar group of people. You are comparing yourself to a curated highlight reel of the wealthiest, most successful-seeming people across your entire social network and beyond. Every scroll through Instagram is a comparison exercise against people who are either actually wealthier than you or who are going into debt to appear wealthier than they are. Research consistently shows that social comparison is one of the strongest predictors of consumer spending. People spend more when they perceive their peers to be spending more. The structural fix here is twofold. First, aggressively curate your social media feeds to remove or mute accounts that trigger social comparison spending. Second, find a community where the status signals are different. In FIRE communities, frugality and high savings rates are the status symbols. Surrounding yourself with people who brag about their savings rate rather than their car payment rewires the social comparison instinct in your favor. Driver 3. The pain of paying. Every purchase involves a moment of psychological pain, the pain of parting with money. This pain acts as a natural brake on spending. The problem is that modern payment systems have been specifically designed to minimize this pain as much as possible. Cash hurts to spend. You physically hand over bills and watch them leave your hand. Studies show that people spend significantly less when paying with cash than with cards. Credit cards hurt less than cash because the pain of payment is deferred. Contactless payments hurt even less. And subscription services, which charge automatically without any active payment moment at all, generate almost no pain of payment whatsoever. This is not an accident. Every step away from cash and toward frictionless payment has been deliberately engineered to increase spending. The practical fix is to reintroduce friction deliberately. Use cash for discretionary categories where you tend to overspend. Add a 24-hour rule for any non-essential purchase above a set threshold. Unsubscribe from every subscription you don't actively use every month. The goal is not to make spending impossible. It's to restore the natural friction that modern payment systems have removed. Driver 4, mental accounting. Mental accounting is the tendency to treat money differently depending on where it came from or what category it's been assigned to, even though a dollar is a dollar regardless of its source. The clearest example is a tax refund. A tax refund is not a bonus. It is your own money that the government held interest-free for a year and is now returning to you. But because it arrives as a lump sum rather than as part of a regular paycheck, most people treat it as found money and spend it in ways they would never spend a regular paycheck dollar. The same effect drives casino spending. People gamble more aggressively with winnings than with their original stake because they mentally categorize winnings as house money. Mental accounting also works in the other direction. People maintain separate mental accounts for different spending categories and will go into credit card debt in one category while maintaining a savings account, earning 1% interest in another, even though the mathematically rational move is to pay off the debt with the savings. The fix is to practice treating all money as fungible, as exactly equivalent regardless of source or category. When you stop mentally segregating money into different categories with different rules, the irrational spending patterns those categories generate largely disappear. Driver 5. Retail therapy and emotional spending. Spending money activates the brain's reward system. The anticipation of a purchase, browsing, selecting, adding to cart, releases dopamine. This makes shopping an effective short-term mood regulator. When you're stressed, bored, sad, or anxious, spending money generates a brief but real neurochemical reward. This is the mechanism behind retail therapy, and it is why online shopping at midnight, impulse purchases at checkout, and spending sprees after difficult weeks are so common. The spending is not about the item. It is about the dopamine hit from the act of acquiring. Like all dopamine-based reward cycles, retail therapy requires escalation over time to produce the same effect. The item that gave you a mood boost 6 months ago no longer does. You need something bigger, newer, more expensive to get the same feeling, and the mood boost is always temporary. The underlying stress or anxiety returns, and the cycle repeats. The fix is to identify your emotional spending triggers and build alternative responses to them. Exercise produces dopamine. Social connection produces dopamine. Creative activities produce dopamine. Building a list of free or low-cost activities that generate genuine mood improvement and defaulting to that list when the urge to shop appears is one of the most effective structural fixes for emotional spending. Driver 6. Optimism bias and future rationalization. The final driver is optimism bias, the tendency to believe that future circumstances will be better than present circumstances, which makes present overspending feel more justified than it actually is. This is the psychological engine behind buy now, pay later schemes, credit card debt, and the persistent belief that you'll start saving next month when things are less tight. Future, you will earn more. Future, you will be more disciplined. Future, you will deal with the debt. Present you just needs this one thing right now. The problem is that future you arrives as present you with the same psychological biases, the same social pressures, and now also the debt that present you accumulated. The financial situation that was going to get easier almost never does on its own. It gets easier when present you makes different decisions, not when future you bails present you out. The fix is to make financial decisions based on your current circumstances rather than optimistic projections of future ones. Budget based on what you earn now, not what you expect to earn. Pay down debt based on your current income, not a projected raise. Save based on what you can afford today, not what you plan to afford after some future improvement in your situation. Overspending is not a willpower problem. It is a design problem. You are operating psychological hardware that was not built for the modern consumer economy, inside a system that has been specifically engineered to exploit that hardware at every turn. The solution is not to try harder, it is to change the environment. Automate your savings so present bias never gets a vote. Curate your social feed so comparison spending loses its triggers. Reintroduce friction into discretionary spending. Treat all money as fungible. Build alternative responses to emotional spending triggers. And make financial decisions based on reality rather than optimism. None of these changes require extraordinary willpower. They require one-time structural decisions that work automatically from that point forward. That's the only approach that actually works long-term. That's the long position. If this video changed how you think about your own spending habits, subscribe. We post every Tuesday and Thursday. See you in the next one.